Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back into session. Next item we have here is number 15, which is 331 Sheldrake Boulevard, application number 15. Yeah? And this is, we have here online, I mean, the one who is registered is John Payne. Are you there? Oh, they'll come. They'll show up. Yeah. Yeah, now he's left. We have a quorum. Okay. We have here a John Payne. Are you there? Or Saeed Mahmoudi? Saeed Mahdoubi?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I am here.
John Payne. Okay. Could you please state your name and address for us?
Yeah, my name is Saeed Mahboubi from Green Dot Architects, agent for owner of the 331 Sheldrake Boulevard, 1670 Bayview Avenue, Suite 302.
Thank you. We have here 4 variances, 4 letters of support, nothing else. Members, do we need a presentation here? No. Okay. We don't need a presentation. Did you want to say something before we move to the committee?
Oh, thank you, Mr.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so any question or motion, please? Can I have a motion if there's no question, Ms. Sankar? Go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I think this application is self-explanatory, and I think it's been done in the detail that I need to put forward a motion to approve this application, as I believe it does meet the 4 tests. I will make it subject to condition number 1 of urban forestry, and also make it subject to the August 26th transportation conclusions. Just that there's no objections, but there are some specific conditions that they have put forward as well. So that's my motion.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Tarodi, all in favor? Okay, so your application is approved, subject to the condition of forestry number 1 and the forestry, no objection, just conditions. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Application number 16, which is 44 Wedgewood, application number 16, 44 Wedgewood Drive, and this is, we have here Sean Liang. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we hear you. Could you please state your name and address for us?
Okay. Chuan Liang, I'm an architect, 106 Thomas Foster Street, Markham.
Okay, we have here one more speaker, and will give us a small presentation of 5 minutes before we move to the other speakers. Here we have 10 variances. You originally asked to defer the application and then you retracted it. The staff report, it has a condition to modify variance number 3 and 8 and eliminate number 4 and 5, and that is per the applicant. And there's a condition, and you got 4 letters of support. So could you please make a short presentation? We'll give you the 5 minutes, and then we'll go to the next speaker.
Okay, so after discuss with the city planner, we agree to eliminate 2 of the items, number 4 and 5, and change item number 3 from 1.2 side yard setback to 1.5 side yard setback, and similar number 8. And so so at the front, the city planner has some concern about item number 1. So we have some explanation about why so we need that 8 meters.
Okay,
That's mainly because
just for the staff to record it properly, could you please make it very clear? You're changing variance number 3 to what?
number 3 from 1.2 to 1.5.
Okay, and number 8
Same from 1.2 to
to
1.5.
1.5 as well. And you're eliminating 4 and 5.
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah. So the front yard setback, the main reason is the lot depth is only 27 meters. So the 9.6 requirements, front yard setback is from the only neighbor. So the neighbor's lot is almost same depth. They have very old house and their setback is 9.6. So to build a new house, I don't think both neighbor and our land we can do that 9.6 again. So for now, we propose 8 meters is the jogging point of our front wall because the lot front line is curved. So our front wall is not parallel to the front curved line. So it's the jogging point of our wall, front wall to the nearest point of the frontal line. So majority of our front walls are further behind than 8 meters. And also our building depth is only 9 meters to 11 meters because the lot is so shallow. So we cannot set back more because the building won't be usable. And also so this bylaw require only 6 meter one setback. We already give 8 meters is to our best effort. So give more setbacks will reduce our quality of building, but will not contribute more to the street. So I think that's the reason we cannot set back more than 8 meters. And also the planners, they give me send me back the email that they agree with this. I think that's the main issue of this property, of this application. Okay, that's all my presentation. Thank you.
Okay. If there's any question, any hurry, if not, we'll get to the speaker first. So we have the other speaker is 16. Amy and Paul Siri. Are you there?
Yes, we are,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. And
Can you please state your name and address for us?
my name is Amy Siri. Our address is 17 Tobruk Crescent.
Thank you.
We are the neighbors directly to the north of 44 Wedgwood. I'll speak on behalf of my husband, Paul, and myself today.
Thank you.
Um,
And tell us what's your concern.
Yes. Well, as residents for 33 years of 17 Tobruk, we appreciate that original bungalows such as ours aren't in keeping with current building trends because we're surrounded by new homes. But our main concern with our neighbor's proposal concerns the focused requested variances dealing with the height of the proposed structure. I guess we aren't able to determine if the proposed density for this structure is within the appropriate bylaws. It appears as if the structure is making up for what it can't get on the surface by going up. If we're understanding the requested variances correctly, I'm referring to numbers 9 and 10 of the 10 requested variances specifically. It appears as though the first floor will be higher than the maximum permitted to begin with. And then there's a request to have the building height higher than the maximum permitted building height as well. It looks, I think, from what the architect said, that perhaps the front balcony, proposed front balcony now is not in question. So I don't have to deal with that. But the height does appear to be excessive, particularly given the size of the lot. I mean, you could potentially have 3 floors, each of almost 10-foot ceilings. Obviously, a mansard roof makes up maximum use of space, and it's a simple way of adding 1 or more stories. But our other concern is runoff with respect to, as you know, Willowdale has several underground creeks and streams which traverse our neighborhood, and we're concerned given requested height variance about the depth of the foundation. We want assurances that there are systems in place on site to handle any runoff from the roof. Given the greater surface area of a mansard roof will hold more water. And after heavy rain, many of the homes around us, newer homes, are in need of multiple sump pumps because of the groundwater rising and competing with the rainwater. Also, it's our expressed hope that the hedge on the north of our property lines border might be able to be preserved, given that there's plenty of access on the south and the west side for construction vehicles. Hedges don't appear overnight. They do take a long time to grow. But part of the north property line, privacy is provided by the existing back wall of the existing garage, which our understanding is that's going to come down. So we didn't know how privacy or how that then would be enclosed. And of course, given the height, we're also concerned about the loss of sun and the potential for shadow. So I guess in summary, that our main concern is the height, that the existing bylaws allow for 29 feet, and we're not quite sure why, as opposed to 29 feet, that they are requesting 34 feet. It feels as if we're going to have a small apartment building on the corner. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Okay, thank you. Any question for this lady? No? Okay, so let's get back the agent. And this is John Liang. Can you come back, please?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
About the building height.
Yeah.
Yeah, the city planner didn't point this out because we are follow the new bylaw. We are under the new bylaws requirement, which is from established grade to the top of the roof is under 10 meters. And for the height variance is from the old bylaw. So their calculation is from the middle point of the road middle line. And we have 0.53 meter difference from the established grade to that old bylaw's height calculation point. So our height variance is only because that difference. And so that's because the calculation of the roof 8.8 is supposed to mirror from the middle point of the slope roof to the calculation of the ground, but as our design, they count that mansard roof, so that measurements to the top of the roof. That's another reason. So if you see the back of the building the elevation, so the back of the elevation is not mansard roof, it's actually slope roof. So if you measure from the back, so if the neighbor concerned about the shadow things, so our back, the south side of the roof is not mansard roof, it's slope roof. So this give sunshine. Actually, has no issue with to the north neighbor. It's only the south and the west we have mansard roof. And I don't think that gives shadow to anybody because it's all street road, right? And the main thing is we're under the new bylaws requirement. That's why the city planner didn't point this out. And we have 10 variants now reduced to 8. I think this mainly come from the irregular shape of the property. It's almost triangle shape. And we already maintain the backyard setback with no variance. That's not easy. So, and also we didn't ask for the coverage. We are under 30%. So we are doing our best to follow the bylaws. And I think the city planner already have all these issues. We already settled them. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so let's see if the members have any question. Members, any question for this speaker? If not, can I have a motion, please? Mr. Klassen?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So I appreciate the presentation and also the comments from the neighbor. So I'd like to move a proposal to approve this application subject to the changes that have been made. Variance 3 changes to 1.5 meters. Variance 4 is eliminated. Variance 5 is eliminated. Variance 8 changes to 1.5 meters, and the staff have recommended that the property be built substantially in accordance in accordance with site plan. So I like to include that, and the staff have also proposed that the property be built in accordance with the main front and the main west elevation drawings. So I like to include that as well. And that is it.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Second? Ms. Sankar seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Ms. Sataro is opposing. Okay, so your application is approved, subject to those changes and staff condition as to build per site plan and western elevation drawings. So that's it. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Number 17, which is 514 FAIRLAWN Avenue. And here we have one speaker, the agent, Pasquale Elio. Are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm here, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, we don't hear you. Could you please speak up?
Oh, yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
A little bit louder.
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Okay,
No?
a little bit better. So you have,
Okay.
this is a one-story addition. We have 2 variances. Staff report has a condition for the coverage to be limited to no more than 35.12%. And that you want, do you want to comment on that one?
We're in agreement with that. We have no issues with that comment.
Yeah, what was it? What is it? They said no more than 35. So should we put what,
So
30?
it's just for the coverage of the house itself.
Yeah, but what the staff said no more than 35.12. So how much you want to put?
Oh, no, we're okay with just so the committee members know, I talked with the planner ahead of time. The reason why the lot coverage is at 44% is because of the rear deck, but the actual house itself is only at,
so please, before you
yeah.
explain that, all I'm asking you is,
Yeah.
what do you want to change it to? The condition is to no more than 35.12. So tell us how much you want it.
oh, so we want to go with the 35.1%.
Okay, 34,
So that'll
35.
give us the little 35.1.
0.1,
Yes,
thank you.
0.1, yeah.
Thank you. 35.1. Okay, now go ahead. Do you want to say something else before we go to committee?
No, that's it. I just want to clarify that.
That's it. Okay. We don't have any other speaker. Let's say the members, any question? If no question, can I have a motion? He's changing the coverage to 35.1%. And I don't have anything else here. So could you please, Ms. Sankar?
Hi, yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Let's, I think that this is actually very minor in nature, and I think the compliance with staff report has been very good. So I'll move that this application be approved, and it'll be subject to the changes made today by the applicant and reducing the lot coverage to 35.1%.
Thank you. Second?
Just for the dwelling, though.
Second? I have 2 seconds. Okay. Mr. Klassen, second. All in favor? Okay. So your application is unanimously approved, subject to that change.
Thank you, committee members.
Okay. So number 18, which is 34 York Downs Drive, application number 18. And that is, we have here Victor Getberg. Are you there? Victor Getberg?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, committee members. My name is Victor Gidberg.
Hi. Yeah. Could you please
Hi.
state your address as well for the records?
Yeah, I'm an architect. My address is 33 Belvedere Crescent in Richmond Hill, and I'm representing the owner of this property.
Okay. We have one more. We have some more speakers here. So could you please make a short presentation? You have here. You have just a. You have 7 variances, and there is staff report with conditions. So could you please cover the presentation with a small, to give you 5 minutes?
Absolutely. Yes, so we seeking, as you mentioned, relief of 7 variances. 3 of them, number 1, 2, and 3, related to side yard setback, which is reduced to 1.5 meters on one side and 1.25 meters on the other side. But it should be noted that this 1.25 is just for the short portion of the wall where the garage is, and the rest of the wall setback is at 1.5 meters. The next variance is building length. It's mostly increased by breakfast area bump out on the ground floor, and the variance for the building depth. I sort of disagree with this variance, but that's how zone examiner interpreted it. Basically, the maximum building depth permitted is 19 meters plus 2-meter single-story extension. And in our case, we have less than 19 meters, but examiner told me that because we are not complying with length, automatically we cannot comply with depth, so which I sort of disagree, but that was his interpretation. The variance for the coverage is 33.6%. Again, 32. The house itself is only 32%, and then 1.6% for pool cabana at the backyard. And then a small variance for building height, 10 centimeters or 4 inches under old bylaw, but we compliant with building height under new bylaw, 10 meters. The proposal was discussed with owners on both sides, and I understood, I didn't discuss myself, but I understood from the owner of the house that both neighbors are in support. We've got one letter of support from across the street, and that's basically that. Yeah, and we're aware of staff report recommendation, and we are in agreement with those conditions. So that basically concludes my presentation, and I'm glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. If there is no, okay, Miss Sankar, Miss Atarodisi has a fast question because we're going to bring him back.
Just want to ask one more time from Mr. Gilbert, is that the proposed dwelling lot coverage is 32%. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct, and it's marked in my development data on site plan. So building itself at 32%, and then 1.6% additional coverage goes to pool cabana in the backyard.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay. All right. So we have here one more speaker, and that is Kevin Bigo and Jael Maman. Are you there? No, both of them. Oh, gee. Okay. Members, we don't have any board speaker. Any question? Any question for this gentleman? Or if not, can I have a motion? Ms. Satarodi? Please go ahead.
Sorry, it was on me.
It's okay.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve the application with just one condition, and that will be that the proposal be constructed substantially in accordance with site plan, east and west elevation drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustment, attachment number 1, 2, and 3, and also subjected to forestry.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Okay, your application is approved. Okay, subject.
Thank
to
you very
these
much.
conditions. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 19. 19, Fordham Place, application number 19 Fordham. Okay, we have here Ali Tana. Are you there?
I'm present, Mr. Chair.
Okay, could you please tell me what's your name and your address, please?
Ali Tana, address is 59 Rocky Crescent, East York.
Thank you. So we have here a 3 variances with the 3-story. It said here received for information only. Oh, okay. Garage and washroom. Now, this is a 3-story, and from what I see, the garage and the washroom are considered first floor, and that's why it ended up to be 3-story. Is that correct?
Actually, the garage is not taken into the consideration for that. It's a small powder room that is slightly lower than the main floor of the house, and that's why it's been considered 3 stories.
That's exactly what I said. The garage and washroom are considered the first floor. That's why it's ended up to be 3-story. Okay. All right. So could you make a very short presentation? Then we go to the members.
For sure. Just quickly mentioning that we've been in a close communication with the planning staff, and we have revised the application once, and the variances before you today are the result of the revised drawings, and we have taken the suggestions of staff for modifying the front yard setback. In general, it's a reverse pie-shaped lot. It is a little bit challenging to orient the new proposal on the lot, but we have tried to maintain the orientation and also the front line setback of the existing home to create as less impact as possible on the view from the street and also on the neighboring properties. As shown on the site plan I provided for presentation, if the staff can put that up, we are following the line that connects the 2 neighboring homes to fit this house and proposal perfectly in the context of this neighborhood. And we don't have any variances regarding setback, and in fact, we are improving the side setbacks, and we are complying with the rear setback required for this property. And as I mentioned, the variance number 2 is only caused by a small powder room that is slightly lower than the main floor of the house and doesn't have any exterior implications. The house is a 2-story home from outside. Number 3, again, is as per staff recommendation, we have kept the front setback of the existing home to have the least impact on the view from the street and the neighboring homes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the changes that you're talking about, those were done before. What we have in front of us is 1, 2, 3 variances. You're not changing anything here, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Members, any question? Can I have a motion, please? Ms. Tarodi?
Yes, to you, Mr. Chair. I mean, I listened to applicant explanation, and also it's also mentioned that, in staff report. Therefore, I believe it's an appropriate development, and I want to put forward a motion to approve this application, which only one, with just one condition of a forestry. Do we have a forestry, right? We have a.
Yeah, forestry condition number 1.
Okay, subjected to forestry, and that's my motion.
And second, Ms. Sankar. Thank you. All in favor? Okay. So thank you. Your application is approved unanimously, subject to forestry. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and the committee members.
Okay. Now we have number 20, which is 35 Fleming Crescent, application number 20. And Mr. Moderator, is Sandhu there? Okay. Raman Sandhu, are you there? Raman Sandhu.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, can you please state your name and address for us?
My name is Raman Sandhu from Marvel Engineering at 858 Danforth Road, Scarborough, and I am presenting for 35 Fleming.
Okay, we have 3 speakers more registered here, and therefore we need you to make a small presentation. I mean, yeah, small. You have 5 minutes to do that. There is a staff report recommends to refuse, and the counselor also recommends to refuse. So please comment on that and make your presentation.
Okay, thank you. So the proposal here is just to widen the driveway. Now to widen the driveway, we are getting 2 variances. One is the front green space, and the second is the actual width of the driveway. So the way city considers the driveway is the one which is actually going beyond the property line and straight access to the road. The way it is set up right now, it is just enough for 1 car parking, and the requirement is to have the green space right next to the parking. However, I have also sent this morning the accessibility pass which my client's father has. He is on a wheelchair, and that 1 parking is not enough for them to park the car and also have a wheelchair to take his father out of the car and to have him seated on the wheelchair and then go in the house. So the existing driveway width by no means can allow any form of accessibility on this lot. 1 variance, which is for the green space, it is, in my opinion, is minor. Another variance for the driveway width for a single car. So the bylaw works by the width of actual parking space behind the front wall. So that is triggering this variance. For accessibility reasons, it is very critical for the client to get this approved. Secondly, about the number of variances, that number of objection letters that we have. So for last 2-3 months, the health condition of his father is not good. So the client was not able to meet any of the neighbors. He wanted to speak to the counselor, but he was not able to. So the whole idea of accessibility and the real need for this whole variance was not actually delivered to the neighbors and to the councillor, which led to so much opposition. It is very critical for us that we get this variance. It is nothing is creating a lot of problem for any neighbor. The green space, which is very critical for the storm water management. The driveway is made out of permeable pavement, so that is actually not a problem. And we will make sure that 50% is of permeable pavement, so you don't have a lot of water runoff or going into the neighbors' yards. And obviously the whole house is built, the grading was certified, so the water from the house is not going into anyone else's yard. So I don't think there is a lot of impact on the neighbors. So the concluding the whole statement, it's to accommodate the disability of the father of the client. He has the pass have been already emailed to the committee for their reference. So that's our request for this proposal.
That's it? Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll get you back after we hear the other speakers. We have here Robert Ellis. Are you there? Robert Ellis.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, now we hear you. Could you please state your name and address?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon. My name is Robert Ellis, and I live at 29 Fleming Crescent. I did submit some detailed written comments to the committee, so I'm going to keep my comments brief and just focus on a very important procedural issue. My recommendation to the committee is that this application should be summarily dismissed because these variances were already explicitly addressed by the Ontario Municipal Board in a decision and a settlement agreement that are binding on the applicant. I personally was part of that OMB process, and I have shared the OMB decision with the committee. The OMB itself drove a settlement agreement negotiated between the neighboring folks, the Kendricks, who are participating today, and the OMB did endorse that settlement as part of its decision. The reason that the Kendricks agreed to compromise on the variances that were requested by the prior owner included a couple of key conditions that are binding on this applicant as well. Those included an obligation to indemnify the Kendricks for damage to their property and a commitment to complete the building in accordance with the approved plans. So in other words, the Kendricks played ball with the prior owner because they didn't want property damage and they wanted the house to look good and be in accordance with the plan that they expected was appropriate. So that settlement and those plans, again, were explicitly including a driveway variance that the applicant's now looking to renege on and materially modify. So my suggestion is that for the committee to approve this variance would be to override an explicit decision that was made by the OMB. It's not as if creating a double driveway is minor, that it was some inadvertent process here in the course of building, or that it wasn't related to that OMB decision. It was explicitly part of the OMB decision. This is a major change, and it was very deliberate on the part of the applicant. The neighbors immediately objected when they saw the size of the driveway when it was roughed in, and they just disregarded the neighbors' objections and barreled ahead, disregarding those objections. As we've submitted in the materials shown by photographic evidence, they've actually also encroached on the property line of the neighbors to the north of them, which just, I think, is typical of the behavior by the applicant today. So fundamentally, the Kendricks' worst fears have been realized. They've had property damage, all kinds of water issues, which they've identified, and we'll elaborate more this afternoon. The owner just refused to correct those and is now trying to back away from that driveway variance from the previous OMB decision. It's just simply not fair for the owners to have agreed to a settlement that the OMB endorsed. The neighbors aren't getting their rights honored, and of course the applicant is asking for all the benefits of that deal but not honoring its obligations that it agreed to as part of that package.
That's it?
So just so in summary, if the owner had wanted to disregard that OMB decision and deal, which it's not free to do, it should have begun this whole process over again and brought all the variances forward for the property, not simply trying to make changes to cherry pick out the ones that it no longer considers convenient. So my request would be that the committee honor the OMB decision and reject the application out of hand. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any question for the speaker? Okay, next one is Jeff Cattell. Jeff Cattell? That's good. Doesn't sound right. No, Mr. Cattell, some people, you know what, let's go to the next one. Next one is Christopher and we'll go to the next one. Last time he had the same problem. Okay, Christopher and Kendrick and Lisa Lampert. Are you there?
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Could you please state your name and address for us?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Yeah, this is, my name is Chris Kendrick, and with me is my wife, Lisa Lampert, from 33 Fleming Crescent.
Thank you. And tell us, please, what's your concern about this application?
Okay, to add what Rob said, you know, we agree with everything that he said. We're not even sure why this application is being considered, as it was already reviewed by the Ontario Municipal Board of 1B. First off, the measurements actually in the application are wrong and the math is incorrect, right? They say that it's a 43.1% of soft, green space, but it's really only 33% when you actually measure the property. Secondly, the firm that stamped these drawings and Sandu recommend, and the representative from there is representing, you know, has actually been under investigation by the PEO for similar misrepresentations of data and drawings and inappropriate engineering stamps and stuff like that. So it's not even valid. But our main issue is the impact to our property and particularly the water damage due to the lack of soft landscaping. You know, the intent from our perspective of the bylaws is to ensure that there is appropriate drainage for water, rain, and snow. And from our perspective, you know, the current installation has caused and is causing drainage problems for our property on the south. The driveway that they installed does not have any drainage under it, and the property or the dirt underneath the grass and everything is full of construction waste material, debris, insulation, so it's not very good for drainage whatsoever. We are the lowest point on the street. With being at 33 Fleming. And we've witnessed this with flooding from storms and stuff like that. And now our rock wall between the two properties has been significantly damaged and shifted by the construction. Right, so we now see water seeping along the cracks during large rainstorms as water runs off the house and the eaves from 35 Fleming Crescent, because there's not enough soft landscaping area to absorb it, right? Additional water pressure due to the huge increase in the hard landscaping as well could further damage our wall, the driveways, the vehicles, our home, and we're on the verge of a landslide coming into our property. You're seeing a picture there of the railing and the slope down into our driveway, and also a picture of how the owner has started parking two cars side by side in this now double driveway. So the massive driveway is incompatible with the established build form and character of the street. Definitely erodes the aesthetics and is not consistent with the Leaside residential character guidelines, where the front yard should be primarily soft landscaping, you know, while minimizing hard paved surfaces. You know, as for the wheelchair and the accessibility, there is significant room to maneuver a wheelchair on the original driveway size. And the hard surface does not need to extend all the way to the street in order to accommodate such a thing. You know, with that being said, this issue was not mentioned to the inspector when he was telling the builder to stop work and comply with the plans. right? This was a bit of a rouse made up by the builder saying that this is how he's gotten by and created variances before. There's actually no wheelchair accommodations outside on the stairs or within the house itself. The door, their front door is narrower than most. I think it's only 30 inches in width, versus the standard 36. So a wheelchair couldn't get through a 30-inch doorway either, right? Access through their garage is another option, but it presents a set of stairs either side. And we've not seen anybody in the last year and a half at the property that would need any physical assistance to get in or out or anything of those lines. Actually, there's nobody really living there at this time, so it's not a primary residence for anyone.
That's it.
Just looking at, yeah, I'm just looking at the time.
Yeah, you have
more
seconds.
Yeah, so there is parking for a couple of cars there, and one in the garage, and you know, the way it's been landscaped now, you can get 7 cars in there, including one in the garage. So it really is a parking lot that's been built beside us. And as I said, and Rob said, you know, we're really looking to make sure that the builder and the owner, you know, comply to the OMB hearing, and that the damages that have been caused to our property and will continue to be caused without the appropriate soft landscaping get rectified. We were
Okay,
indemnified.
sir, I'll ask you to summarize, please. You passed your 5 minutes, okay?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we
Okay,
have
so
to
with
move.
that, you know, we do not support the variances requested, and I think there's a lot of other people that are in that do not support it.
Thank you. Any question for this speaker? No, nobody has question. Okay, now we go back to the Jeff Cattell, see if he's online. Mr. Cattell, are you there?
Hear me? Yes.
Yeah, now I hear you. You must have had some problem before. Could you please repeat your name and address for us? Mr. Cattell, are you still there?
Sorry, I'm here. My name is Jeff Cattell. I'm co-president of the Leaside Residents Association, 1601 Bayview Avenue. We clearly, any reasonable person would support the comments made by the 2 previous speakers. We are strongly opposed to this application to legalize the front yard hard landscaping and driveway width. Our objections are twofold. First of all, the substantive concerns about the variances themselves and their impact. The proposed front yard landscaping area is 43.1%, whereas 50% is required. And the proposed driveway is 5.38 meters wide, which is almost twice the allowable width of 2.7 meters. And that, in fact, was modified by the OMB, as Mr. Ellis clearly described. The OMB approved 3.2 meters, so it's still over 2 meters wider than even what the OMB decision was. These variance requests are contrary to the city's objectives to reduce runoff, to maintain or increase tree cover, and discourage parking pads. They are also out of character with the pattern of narrow driveways, wide lawns, and large front yard landscaping areas that is characteristic of a beautiful street, Fleming Crescent. The other concern, the procedural concern, is that this is a retroactive application, which suggests a flagrant disregard for the city's zoning bylaws. Why were the works constructed without seeking prior approval? Why would the city entertain a retroactive application? We are aware that this application follows an earlier application, 2015, and subsequent OMB decision, which approved a minor variance application to construct a 2-story dwelling with an integral garage. We're also aware that there have been a number of construction issues involving this property, which have negatively impacted neighbors' properties. We strongly advise that you would refuse this application. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any question? No? Okay. So let's get back Raman Sando? Raman Sando, can you come back, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you heard the three speakers before, and could you please address those concerns?
Yes, so I will go one by one. So essentially, the OMB decision, it's almost 4 or 5 years old. The house was sold. The old house was sold with the decision, and the new owners came. They dragged their property on their own. So the OMB decision, my client was not involved at all in that decision. It's old. Whatever application is in front of the committee right now, that's the only application we have made till date for this property. The issues with the construction have all been cleared. Yes, as we speak, there is some landscaping work needed in the rear yard, as you saw in a photo. So it is an active construction in terms of the exterior of the house. Right now, we are proposing to propose the proper drainage plan in the rear yard, so the water can drain effectively, because there's a slope of the house from left to the right into the neighbor who just spoke. So they are ongoing. Each effort is made to incorporate whatever we can in terms of the stormwater management. The green space, as I think all of them mentioned, the existing, if you see any of the photos which they presented, the existing driveway is made out of interlocking. It's not solid concrete, it's not asphalt, it's interlocking, which has a permeability ratio of around 0.7. So it's not totally impervious. The water is going inside the ground, and we did not receive any opposition from the engineering department. The only opposition that came was from the planning department. They just don't want to. I spoke with them. They don't want to increase the width of the driveway at all. Other than that, the proposed construction, the way it is right now, if you see the multiple cars which are parked on the driveway, they are the construction workers who actually park and do work inside the house or at the back, which you saw in multiple photos. So essentially, the driveway is going to use for accessibility and accessibility only. The interior of the house, it was built as per the approved permit because it was tied with the OMB requirements. Right now, the access to the for the wheelchair to go in is from the garage. There's a landing right in front of the garage access to inside of the house, and then a ramp. It's the next thing after this. We are going to propose a ramp if we can get this application approved. There are two steps from the garage level to the main floor level. A ramp will be proposed for the wheelchair access to inside the house. So there is no, we don't have any requirement or 7-car or 6-car. We only need 1 car with enough space so the wheelchair could be accommodated and it could travel inside the garage. Other than that, I don't think stormwater problem is going to be solved or worsened by this proposal at all. So that is my answer.
Thank you. Any?
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for this gentleman? If there is no questions, can I have a motion then? Mr. Klassen?
Okay.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I looked at the planning staff who did not support this proposal, transportation did not support this proposal, the councillor did not support, and neighbors did not support. There isn't a clear rationale that I could see in terms of why this should be approved. As such, I'm going to move to reject this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Second, Ms. Sankar, all in favor? Thank you. Your application is unanimously refused.
No problem.
Okay, so we're going to break for lunch. Members, how much time do you need? Any suggestion?
Honestly, I've kind of eaten in the 5 minutes, so I'm okay. I'm good to go with just 10 minutes, but my colleagues, I'll leave it.